What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you a good overview of what the data points are truly saying and if this rally is going to continue or not. And then when it comes down to this upcoming Q4 earnings on the 22nd, there is some analysts giving very optimistic viewpoints, insinuating that there may be a beat for their earnings upcoming at least. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So as you can see on the intraday chart, absolutely amazing day. And even after hours, it's holding its strength. I want to give you a quick update on shorts while I am on here. A lot more people are talking about a squeeze coming. And like I said, with upcoming earnings around the corner and analysts being very much optimistic now, clearly there might be even more reason for a squeeze. Short score is currently 83, utilization is 100%. On a side note, if you guys have any questions about any of this, let me know in the comments below. But despite it going up so much today, roughly about 7%, shorts did in fact increase 1.65 million shares, bringing the grand total to 134.74 million shares being shorted, which works out to be almost about 21% short interest. The cost to borrow for the most part is around 14.83%, so that's the average. And once again, you do see signs of manipulation on how there's brokers out there trying to suppress Lucid. More specifically here, so cost to borrow minimum, meaning there is a broker out there physically charging people 0.35%. So this is where it's a little bit more inclining shorts to increase their position. And of course, I don't know who that broker is per se. So if you guys take a look at your brokers and potentially if you do see a very, very low cost to borrow, then that might be the broker. So if you do know, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But like I said, the max is around 19 or almost 20%. So I think behind the scenes, it's an interesting time for Lucid. And actually to piggyback off of this manipulation, there was also this. That was the latest round of 13Fs. And of course, our friends over at Morgan Stanley recently increased their position right about here. There was a hell of a lot of new 13Fs, but Morgan Stanley increased their position 37.3%. So right now they have 3.8 million shares of Lucid. And of course, they recently gave us a $5 price target. So very interesting chain of events when it comes down to that. I'll give you a quick summary of basically what did happen. So as you can tell based on the dark pool transactions, there was a hell of a lot more today, insinuating a lot more buying. And based on the price, you can kind of tell based on what it was at the time, majority of these were buys. Of course, some of them were sales, but looking right here, these are the transactions on the secondary market. So typical retail investors, that's the exchange they trade on. There was a couple big ones, so 5.59 million and 1.46 million. But generally speaking, even this was up more than the average. And then when it comes down to the options activity for today, it was once again a little bit more mixed, but similar to what's been happening over the last several days, a little bit more leaning towards more calls being purchased, insinuating upside is coming. And based on the chains, it does look like it is around between $11 to $12 is anticipated for this upcoming Friday. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But like I said, is this rally going to continue? So based on the actual technicals though, things are looking fairly hot. And right now, stochastic is currently at 20, so very much oversold still. So the fact that it went up almost about 7% today is just a drop in the bucket in comparison to what it actually can go up. So I do feel that if there is some positive news, whether it be for the broader economy or Lucid specific, then there will be a very big value rally for this. And over and above that, there might just be FOMO leading into the actual earnings. Momentum number retail investors were getting into today, so that's definitely a pretty good sign. And on the actual chart, it did break past that central Bollinger Band and also 100-day moving average. So I think generally speaking, it is looking fairly optimistic. So most likely it will be trading between around that $10.75 range to around $13, depending on what does come out. Like I said, there's a lot of different factors at play, but it is fair to assume that this rally most likely will continue. I'm not a financial advisor though, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. And when it comes down to, like I said, this upcoming earnings, in case you guys haven't participated in any, there is several different things that investors care about, one of which is earnings per share, revenue, future guidance, and of course under future guidance there's several different attributes such as reservation numbers, production targets, everything under the sun. But more specifically, if you look at, for instance, earnings per share, even with them ramping up production quite heavily in Q4, which of course would really hurt their earnings per share because ramping up is very costly to do that, there was another analyst that recently did get in. So currently there is 4 analysts giving estimates, and the average estimate is negative 41 cents. So in my opinion, that's something that's always been a beat when it comes to Lucid, is their earnings per share. So you can always tell the blue versus the gray charts right here. Definitely is fairly bullish for an analyst to get in last minute like this. And then when it comes down to revenue, again, like I've mentioned in the past, just looking at a chart like this, these are just basic estimates from analysts. So clearly it's anticipating, and analysts anticipate Lucid to really ramp up on production. And this is why when you are investing in Lucid, you should be investing and thinking of these types of kind of targets in reality. But this upcoming Q4 earnings, actually 2 analysts in fact did get in over the last little bit. And of course that could be seen as fairly optimistic. Currently there is 5 analysts giving estimates with an average of $302.61 million. So I think in general that's one thing that Lucid's always really fallen short on, as you can tell based on the blue right here. So for instance in the Q3 the actual was 195.46 million. The average estimate based on analysts was 209. So I think that's one thing that Lucid's always fallen short from, but I think that's been very much linked to production. And of course in Q4 they really hit a home run when it comes down to that. So I think in general, analysts getting in this late to the game and upping their overall estimates is a very optimistic kind of stance with Lucid. But keep in mind, I'm going to be live streaming the earnings, so I'm going to be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly, and most likely based on analysts, they are anticipating at least a beat. So it'd be really good to see them have exceed the expectations for revenue and also earnings per share, and hopefully give a lot of good future guidance as well. So 2023 and how they're actually going to be unveiling the gravity, who knows, as well as far as that rumor about the PIF, there's going to be a lot of good things being said there. And on a side note, while I do still have you, I just wanted to bring this up because in general though, I think this is a very, very good thing. So Lucid Motors wins contract to develop battery modules for Defense Department. In here doesn't necessarily talk on exactly how much revenue is going to be generated from this, but this does validate Lucid's technology, and this is why analysts truly do love Lucid, with the exception of Adam Jonas with Morgan Stanley, who gave us a $5 rating, but still everyone with the exception of him loves Lucid. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and want to support it, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.